Welcome to the Cincy Postcast. I'm Kevin Wallace, and before we get started with today's episode, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Streetside Brewery, the best daggone brewery you're going to find in the city or even outside of the city of Cincinnati. That's right. I'm just expanding the scope more and more as we go along, okay? Streetside are good people with delicious award-winning beers, and they also just so happen to be hosting a Postcast live show on Sunday at 5 o'clock leading up to kickoff against the Columbus Crew in Columbus. Not the Monday home game. Don't show up then. Go to the game. I mean, stop by Streetside, sure. But no, Sunday for the away leg in Columbus. If you're not going to Columbus, join us. We will have a live show leading up to the match. We will have some giveaways. It's going to be a good time. Just come hang out. Watch the game at a really nice, friendly establishment. It'll be a good time. They are good people. You're going to have a good time there. So come join us next Sunday, and we'll see you there, and we'll be there to watch an FC Cincinnati road victory because that's what this team does. So thank you to Streetside for sponsoring this episode. And on this episode, well, let's be honest. There's nothing else you want to hear about or from or whatever. This is the preview episode for Game 1 of Round 1. Hell is Real. FC Cincinnati versus the Columbus Crew. It starts in Cincinnati, 6:45 p.m. on Monday. Which is why we gotta get this preview out to you, okay? What are the vibes like around this team? Projected starting 11? What are our predictions? We put it all together for you here. Enjoy this. Get hype. Get loud. Show up early. Do the march. We got this. Positive vibes only, okay? You heard that right. Get hype for the game and also this postcast. Joining me to talk about that and probably some more, joined by the Chief, joined by Grayson. Gentlemen, I appreciate you taking some time out of your afternoon to record this, as the playoffs offer unique and interesting schedules for us. So Sunday night didn't quite feel right if we wanted, people to hear this before the game. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Chief.
No, it's all right. Like I'm not the one making the sacrifice. My NFL team doesn't play till 4, so I'm fine.
There was some calculation where the Bengals looked to be pretty well in control. Buccaneers don't play till 4. I think I got us a nice little window.
Nice little window right here. Yeah, maybe. I'm just surprised that nobody put the thought out there that we would record tomorrow after the game.
Oh.
No. No, I would have been a hard no on that one too. I just, without knowing the outcome, that's a hard check for future me to have to cash at a later date.
Now there is a funny possibility here. So Sunday, the away leg, we will be at Streetside Brewery. Please come on out. We'll be there about an hour before kickoff. We'll get you, we'll be doing the preview and all that leading up to the game. And I'm planning on sticking around and watching the game. So come hang out and watch the game with us. All the recording equipment will be there. It is very possible that the series is wrapped up on Sunday night. Do we just record right then and there?
Let's see. Let's see. Let's play this one by ear, I think is the best way I would say that. I am over here thinking positive thoughts. I'm thinking, all right, the clean sweep will obviously need to record the post.
What time is the game on the second?
I believe it kicks off at 6.
Man, that's a long day.
Is a long day.
Buccaneers bye week. I have my undivided attention.
I'm just saying, it's either a long night or 2 nights. So some math will have to be done.
Some thought for food right there, as they say.
I mean, if they lose and get knocked out, which I'm not expecting. I'm just saying like
no, that's off the table. I'm saying if they win, then I'm in. And ideally, again, it's a series win. So
maybe, but like, come on, I'm not going to give people 2 live shows.
No. Oh well.
Oh no! If they beat Columbus in a sweep, I'll give people 5 live shows. I don't care, man. Like
that's the spirit.
Yeah, I'll set up on Fountain Square and record. I don't care.
I actually really like the idea of we record it live, but we like unplug the speaker so people can just
you don't get free content. Yeah, that's an extra Patreon tier where we'll give you the code to like dial in and listen to the recording as we're talking live in person.
See, in the good old days, a radio station would have its broadcast studio like with a window facing the street. Like that was a very common setup around the country. And I really liked that like you could see things happening, but you couldn't actually hear it.
Yeah. Or if you could hear it, it was on like a 30-second delay. So anything you were hearing was completely out of sync, like watching an old monster movie from back in the day.
Yes.
Like badly dubbed.
Well, when we inevitably open up our downtown offices,
clearly
we'll have the podcast studio set up with a window to the street.
Yeah, that's stretch goals, as they say in the Kickstarter community.
We aim for $2 a month. Stretch goal, $100,000 a month. Hear me out. We can do some pretty cool stuff.
And the real stretch goal, $200,000 a month, is we all relocate and take the money, and you never hear from us again.
Yeah, actually, there is a point where you can get rid of us.
Yeah, it's scam. It's full scam right there.
Oh, so the match.
It's the eve. It's Hell is Real Eve. It's playoff Eve. It is the biggest weekend of game. It's the biggest game of the year.
Yeah.
That also happens to be a rivalry game. So it's just we're stacking big on top of big, and then we're all doing it at 6:45 on a Monday night.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. This is
that the word we're looking for? Is it fun?
Everything we have been hoping for. It's stressful, to be clear. It's stressful. But it all comes down to this. I think it's certainly the matchup of the first round of the playoffs. I mean, there are plenty of interesting matchups, but I think the rivalry-ness of this is what puts it over the top. It does feel weird to be like hyped for playoffs because as of recording, which is late afternoon Sunday, there has only been one MLS playoff game played so far. It feels weird to try to get in the playoff spirit right now, but here we are. Grayson, vibes going into this one. I think they got to be good.
Yeah. Like the answer has to be vibes are good. I mean, the team has played pretty well down the stretch. They've got Brenner look pretty good. They're going to have the 3-headed attack going into the playoffs. They've got some guys getting healthy. They should be getting healthier as the playoffs go on.
Yep.
I hate to say it, but it feels like the absences they do have are absences that, you can live with.
Yeah. They're manageable. Yeah.
So yeah, vibes gotta be high. If they're not high, I don't know what's wrong with you. Like,
there's obviously like the dread of playing your rival for an important game.
But we were talking about this, before the show. If you look at the lineups,
yeah,
we got better forwards, we got a better 10, we got better center backs, got a better goalkeeper. The only spots where they're arguably better are those, admittedly important central midfield spots. But I think that's a closer question given Obi's back and given the Guidi has been added back into the team. Yeah. And then, outside backs, which also is only close because Orishano hasn't been good this year. But he could be good again anytime. Like his talent didn't go anywhere,
Yeah.
So like, if you don't go into these games thinking that we have the better team, we should be expected to beat Columbus. Something's wrong.
Something's off. Yeah. It's interesting to me that part of the mental space I've had to sort of get in when thinking about this, and what's sort of the way I've been looking at this, is that it's the playoffs, and you just have to throw history. You have to view everything as a clean slate at this point, because there is just a fundamental difference between playing a team in the regular season where you're minute managing, you're man managing, you're thinking about not just this game, but you're thinking about 3 weeks from now, 3 months from now. And there are all these things that go into the daily ups and downs of a regular season and a regular season game. That's all out the window at this point. There is no game but the game that is right in front of you. There is no tomorrow. And so it changes a little bit about how you manage, how you handle your business. And what it does as well is that it changes things to more of it's guys. Players show up. You win playoff games in any sport. Players win playoff games, and talent wins playoff games. And why I'm oddly at peace with sort of what's we're about to go for is that there's a ton of talent on this FC Cincinnati team. And if you just look man for man, that talent really does appear to be very, well, I don't want to say lopsided, but it favors FC Cincinnati. The talent, when you match these two teams up, especially with who's out for Columbus and who is potentially going to be limited for Columbus and Diego Rossi, you look around and it's like this FC Cincinnati team has if you're just going guy for guy, there's more guys on one side than there are in the other. And so I'm confident and I feel good about this, but the hard part is separating what has come before and viewing this as its own unique individual entity, which I think you have to do in the playoffs. I think you have to view this as something brand new and something different than has come before it. Even going back to 2023, we talked about in the last episode, this is a different team, both on the Columbus side and on the FC Cincinnati side that came into 2023. And that game in 2023 was different than the regular season for the exact same reason. So I think that if you can do one thing that I think will help everyone's mentals going into this is just, to quote Kylo Ren, let the past go, kill it if you must.
We talk about we being some members of the fan base, and maybe us three specifically sometimes, talk about Columbus like they're this unstoppable juggernaut. And it's really just because, we've had a couple of games that went the wrong way. But Columbus got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs last year too.
Yeah.
And that was a team that had Cucho.
Yep.
Right. That was a better team than they have right now. Columbus is where they are in the standings for a reason. There's been a lot of talk about, is Rossi going to play? Isn't he going to play? Is he going to be limited? Who cares? Like, not a team in the league would take Rossi over Evander. Yeah, like they have good players. We have better players, and sometimes you just got to accept that sometimes the other team will have good players,
especially in the playoffs, and you just got to beat them.
Yeah. Yeah, Chief, you brought up the history since the Eastern Conference Finals that we don't need to dwell on too much. The record is tied between these two teams. 1 win each, 2 draws. This has been fairly even over the last 2 years since then. Now, again, last time out wasn't ideal. Started ideal. Didn't finish ideal. 4-2 victory. Since then, though, in this team, you've added Samuel Guidi, you've added Brenner, you've added Echenike, Jabari, you've ended Marksuk. Like, this is a very different looking team.
Guidi. Did we say Guidi?
You said Guidi. He said we ended Marksuk, where I'm like, did we kill him?
Oh, if I ended him, I meant to add him.
It's like we ended him. I was like, oh my God, that's
No, actually, a very good chance he starts tomorrow. But
I wouldn't say very good. I would say there's a chance.
There's a decent chance he starts. Decent. I'm going to throw decent in there, and you can't stop me. But my point is that a huge core of this team, not core, but a huge chunk of this team wasn't even on the team during the last time. Like the vibes, the attitude in the locker room doesn't know that feeling. Like for them, this is another team against a good opponent. FC Cincinnati hasn't lost in 5 games. They've only drawn once, so it's 4 wins and a draw. Columbus going into this one, they have only 1 win in their last 5 games, and that was their last one out against New York Red Bulls, keep them out of the play-in game against a Red Bull team that had nothing to play for. Since then, they were dreadful. So this is a Columbus Crew team that at one point was pushing second or third and barely escaped that play-in game going into this. So I will certainly allow people's, histories of this matchup to factor into their feelings. But I will say, if you look at the recent history of both of these teams with and without each other, you got to tip your hand to the old orange and blue. They're on a hotter streak. They were in a better run of form. And Grayson, to your point, I'm looking at this combined lineup or the sort of projected lineup for both teams. Nagby and Arfston and I guess dealer's choice on goalkeeper. Otherwise, I think you're starting an FC Cincinnati player in every position.
So let's go. What do we expect the lineup to look like for this game for the FC? Because I think that's interesting a little bit here, and especially interesting to the idea of who are you playing on the back line? Mm-hmm. Specifically, who are your wing backs in this, given the health and the availability? And I tend to think that everything else is set beyond that in the midfield. I think we can all assume, or I think that it's safe to assume, that you're going to have, Denke and Brenner starting up top. Your midfield is most likely going to be Evander, Buka, and Obi.
Yep.
Obi being fully fit. So let's talk about those positions along the back, because I think there are some interesting choices that Pat Noonan has for this that could really, number one, set the tone for early in the game, but also it'll change who's available later in the game to make on as a substitute depending on the game state as well.
Yeah. Before we dive into that, I will say last time out, so against Montreal, the back line was Hadebe, Robinson, Hagland. Hagland on the right, Hadebe on the left, Miles Robinson in the center. So I guess I would start there. Is there any reason to not run these guys back? I'm trying to think. Angle is day-to-day. Miazga is still out. Mm-hmm. Flores is an option. Powell would be an option. But I'm curious. What are we thinking?
And Hadebe did, I believe, clear the concussion protocol.
Yeah.
That's why he was subbed out last game. And I think he was out of training maybe a day as they worked through that process. I think that's the back three, given availability and given, who I would like to see of who's available.
Yeah, I think that what helps this decision and makes this decision a little easier for Pat Noonan on the back line is that since Abu Ali is out and looks like he's probably going to be out for this entire series, is what the reporting seems to indicate out of Columbus.
Yeah.
If he were in, he is pacey and he is a person where you would consider a potential problem getting behind your defense. Without him, I think it's a little bit, you don't put as much risk on the plate by having someone like a Nick Hagland, where he's got wily veteran speed, but in a flat out foot race, you might be worried a little bit about him getting beat deep. With who Columbus is looking to play out there up top, you're not really quite as worried about that with this. So yeah, I agree with Grayson. I think that the back line stays about the same.
So then we move to the outside backs, and I think this is where it gets a little wonky, because I think What? Just about everybody is back? Who are we still missing as outside backs from injury?
Well, potentially Luka and Lucas.
Okay.
So they're both day to day.
Which it typically is Pat Noonan code for you will be available, but you will not be starting in. That would be like, I think, usually the most likely outcome of a day-to-day player going into this.
I'd agree with that. And best of three certainly factors in here. But if there was ever a time to rush an important piece back, this would be the time to do it. So maybe Orishano, maybe Angle gets the start if it's, very matchup dependent. I can't really see the argument for forcing that, but that does leave you Alvis Powell, Dom Marksuk, and Ender Echenike.
I'd also throw Yuya Kubo in there potentially as an option.
Yuya Kubo as out there. Buka played it for 10 minutes in the last game. I think he has to be in the conversation since that happened. Can I force a Dado mention here? So yeah, there's your outside back situation. Last time out, it was Marksuk on the left and Powell on the right. Now that was against Montreal.
And it was when Ender was coming back from injury.
Yes. Marksuk is typically a right wing back. He was on the left inverted in this one. That does sort of take away one of his main skills, which is crossing in the ball. But with Denke, it's maybe not as important.
It's interesting because I do, in a best of three playoffs or in a playoff situation in general, I think that there's two schools of thought to this. The first would be you don't think about it. You run out in this instance who you think the best players are and figure it out. But also, I do like the idea of, so like if that's the case, if it is just we're going to run the best players that we have available out, to me, that means you're starting Ender Echenike on one side and whoever is
Say what you want to say. What you want to say on the left side.
Dado.
I know what you want to say.
Valenzuela.
We're all thinking it.
I want to say Dado Valenzuela on the left hand side.
Oh, really?
I do, but no.
I was joking. I thought you were going to say Kubo.
I was thinking Kubo.
It's like Dado. He hasn't played it. I said on the one episode, I want to see Dado playing wingback. I think that would be very interesting. No, you can't do that here. No,
maybe not a good time to experiment.
No. On the other side, I think it's Yuya Kubo is who is on the other side as your wingback. But the problem is I think that with both those players, with Ender Echenike and Yuya Kubo, those are players who I think give you more as a sub with 30 minutes to give and 30 minutes to run later in the game when, potentially at home, you may be in a draw situation where you're looking to chase a win and try to avoid PKs at home. And who do you want to be putting on in those situations? Do you want to be putting on Alvis Powell in those situations? Or do you want to be, and Dominic Marksuk? Or do you want to be putting on Yuya Kubo and Ender Echenike running at a more tired defense on the road, looking for a goal or looking for the go-ahead goal? So, while I think the best combination of players you can put out there has to include Kubo and Ender, and really Dado, if we're being honest, in terms of actual raw talent, I think the pairing is the same as it was with Montreal, assuming Luka and Lucas can't go.
So I have a couple of thoughts on the Kubo better as a sub in particular.
Yeah, okay? Please.
Generally, I would agree with that, especially in the past, where the ability to have Kubo as a first choice for a number of positions and situations is pretty good. A little. But yeah, Guidi changes that. Anunga changes that. Dado is available as a midfield offensive sub if you need it. I kind of like throwing Dado in as a sub if you need to help generate offense. I think he's probably better at that than Kubo at this point. And
that feels right.
We've never really seen him play wing back. And then and as far as a left wing back sub, if Chief is reading the tea leaves right, and day to day for Luka and Lucas means available in some capacity and not going to start, there are some left side subs right there, right?
Yeah.
And then on the right, Powell and Marksuk are not bad substitute players. We see Powell get the ball forward a lot. He's defended in nervy situations a lot. He's created some nervy situations, but he's also helped us see out a lot of games.
Yeah.
And Marksuk can ping in a cross-late if they need it. Marksuk pinging into Kamara since Jabari's not available. That's not a terrible like break glass in case of emergency move late in the game either. So given that this team has way more depth and situational options than it's really ever had, Ender and Kubo, right and left for me.
I like it because then, like you said, your subs are your presumptive starters for later in the series in Orishano and Angle, which is, you talk about some good subs coming off the bench, that's pretty good.
Right. And that's assuming, though, that you think that Angle and Luka are, if they're day-to-day, it's going to depend. Yeah. I think that means that they're going to be about like 20 to 30 minutes match fit.
Right.
It may be the case that day-to-day means we don't know if they will be 20 to 30 minutes match fit. Yep. And if that's the case, I think that changes things. If they are both available, or even if one of them is available off the bench,
it helps.
It helps a lot with this situation. Mm-hmm. And I do agree with Grayson that part of the versatility of Yuya Kubo, or part of the reason why we view Yuya Kubo as this sort of Swiss Army knife, is that we talked about, I think on Sunday, is that this team has had issues with depth, especially in the midfield. Well, Gideon and Anunga, like Grayson was saying, it alleviates that to the point where I don't know that Yuya is the first person off the bench as a midfield sub anymore.
Here's the other reason not to start Powell on the right is, especially if Lucas is very limited or not available, depending on how you think about it, Powell might be the first center back sub.
Oh,
as opposed to Flores.
Point.
As opposed to Flores, But that's your center back depth is Flores and Powell if Lucas can't go.
So maybe you do hang on to Powell. If somebody picks up an injury, you probably want that flexibility.
The only concern you do have with Luka, with Yuya and Ender coming into the game right from the start is if you need to chase a result. Like if, for example, you find yourself down 1-0 in the second half, who then are you bringing? Like who are your options available to bring on to go and try and find a goal that forces PKs and keeps and preserves the opportunity to walk out of here with a win, with the 3 points in this series? Because then who's your attacking options off the bench are Gidi, Dotto,
potentially Luka.
Yeah, potentially Orishano.
And
Kamara.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't hate that.
I mean, a Marksuk Kamara pairing up top would be good. You pull a defensive midfielder off for one of Orishano or Dado. You potentially pull a center back for one of those guys. Or even, Kamara to just join the attack.
But if you look at the way this team plays, and you look at like the numbers we've looked at over the course of like the last couple episodes, we've beaten them to death to a certain extent. But this is a team that plays better with the lead.
Yeah.
And a team that tends to get ahead and stay ahead. So if that is what your identity truly is get ahead, stay ahead, then put your firepower on early.
Yep. Get
your goal. And then worry about protecting the lead. Then worry about doing what you do best in defending versus, having to chase a game late when the other team knows that when they know that they're just need to see out a result to go back home with a chance to wrap it up. I would rather get the goal when the game is still in flux than have to chase a goal in a 3-game series.
I like it. So to recap, we have our projected starting 11 as Roman Celentano in goal, which, at one point was questionable. Hadebe, Robinson, and Hagland as your back line with Ender Echenike on the, which side are we putting him on?
Right-hand side.
On the right side, and Yuya Kubo on the left, with Buka and Wobodo in the central midfield. Ahead of them is Evander, Denke, and Brenner. I think that team can win a game. Here's my question to you guys. We've been very positive up to this point. Where's the weakness? How would this team falter? What would be the thing to keep an eye on?
The thing
same stuff we've seen.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's the inability to maintain spacing and getting picked apart in the midfield, and being unable to. The two worries you have with this team is, number one is that and why I do think that this isn't a lineup we'll see. It would be the lineup that I would put out there. But I think the problem where you're going to find with Noonan is that Noonan will look at Ender and Yuya and will think there is not enough defensive track back and enough defensive help between those two, and will choose to put someone out on the wings that is more defense first, with the idea knowing that Columbus is going to have more of the ball. That's just the way that Wilfried Nancy's system is set up. It will shock me if Columbus does not outpossess FC Cincinnati in every game they play in this playoff series, be it a 2-game series or a 3-game series. Total, they will have more of the ball. In each individual game, they will have more of the ball. And so I think the weakness with that lineup in particular is that it will open you up, especially with how forward Ender and how forward Yuya will get. It will open you up to being countered on the back. And I think that they'll think that potentially it'll create a problem in retaking possession and breaking up the patterns of play that Columbus is going to engage in once they have the ball.
I'd agree with that. But Grayson, let me ask you this. Does Obi change that equation? Because that is how we've seen this FC Cincinnati team get broken down before. But does Obi allow more aggressiveness from the outside, or allows, say, center backs to step forward and break up attacks more aggressively? What do we think about Obi's inclusion?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think breaking up attacks more aggressively for sure. You would like to see Obi make it harder to play through FC Cincinnati through the middle of the field, because Columbus, not just Nagbe, Shambo?
I think it's Shambost is what I keep hearing MLS commentators say, but I don't know if that's correct. Shambo feels right, but I swear I've heard Shambost.
Shambost is he's kind of like a super Buka. And so they're extremely strong in the midfield, and if they let them move the ball through the midfield as easily as they've let teams move the ball through the midfield all year, they're going to have a really hard time defending the box. So maybe Obi changes that part of the team a little bit.
Yeah, what you'd hope to see out of Obi is you would hope to see him be the person that steps forward into that right on the edge of the final third and just makes that a little bit harder, so that there is more backwards play, like the same thing that you find FC Cincinnati happening, where the next move has to be backwards to recycle, and that just gives your defense more opportunity to get into shape. The problem is that when we have seen this FC Cincinnati team really break down in terms of being attacked, they're being attacked down the wings, and they're being attacked into the spaces down on the side of the 18-yard box, and the ball's being brought centrally from there. And I could see Noonan being concerned that Kubo and Echenike don't offer enough resistance in that spot. And I don't know that really maybe you can say that Obi goes down and overloads that side to try and provide a little bit of help down the flank. But when they've gotten into trouble, like most teams have chosen to attack FC Cincinnati down the flanks. So I don't know how much Obi fixes that. I think he definitely helps out a lot in terms of breaks and stopping breaks from happening. But in terms of just their actual set defense in defending the final third or defending in the offense in the defensive zone, the defensive half, I don't know that Obi makes that much of a difference over what Angle was, or what Anunga was doing for this team.
Yeah, I think it's good for him to be back, though. I think that he is better than Brian Anunga. He has better instincts than Brian Anunga in terms of anticipation and knowing where the play is going before the play starts to go there. Yes.
I would much rather have him out there than Anunga. And I especially love the idea that at some point, if you're protecting a lead, maybe Brian Anunga comes out there with Obi.
Yes.
And you can really shut a team down for the final, 5 minutes, 10 minutes of stoppage time.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Obi also offers more offensively. He's able to start attacks very quickly.
He's better than Anunga.
Yes.
But I wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't say you're relying on him, though.
No, but he has this superpower of like stealing the ball, slide tackling the ball, and already being in a position to spring a counterattack, which is hard to do, and good that he has that ability to do that, which could be useful. Chief,
he's like the Kenyon Martin of soccer. Like Kenyon used to block a shot, but then like end up with the ball in his hands,
Yes.
Like he wouldn't just swat it away.
So Obi is the Kenyon Martin of defensive midfielders.
Right down to his leg injuries.
Yeah. I say also right down to also being unavailable in the postseason.
Yeah,
in the
hang on, wait a
moments.
second. This works too well. Chief, you brought up the possession numbers. Yes. Columbus's style of play would like to dominate possession. They tend to want the possession, but would it be a good thing if FC Cincinnati were to dominate possession? Are we denying them the ball there, or is that sort of counter to how we want this team to play, which is stout defense and blistering counterattacks?
I mean, I don't think that they have a choice. Like, I don't know that I think that the game state is going to be dictated to them by Columbus in large part because that's just how Columbus plays.
Yeah.
What FC Cincinnati needs to do in order to be successful in this game as the Bengals defense continues to surrender point after point to the New York Jets, which is just hilarious.
Bengals defense is carrying me in fantasy this week because my opponent has the Bengals defense. And I have Joe Flacco. So as long as Bengals keep giving up points, Flacco's going to keep throwing the ball.
Gotta keep throwing.
Grayson, I have Breece Hall. This has gone swimmingly for me.
I don't have a quarterback because I've got a guy stuck in the IR spot that played on the Thursday night game, and it won't let me pick a quarterback up until this player is moved, and I can't move him out of the IR spot.
The IR Thursday is tough, man.
It's tough. I didn't know Aaron Jones was back. But no, to talk about or to get back to with the crew specifically, I have no idea what your question was now. Watching the NFL game,
I'm trying
about
to think.
possession and whatnot. No, the key for FC Cincinnati is that they have to maximize opportunities when Columbus is caught out of possession. Like, they have to maximize opportunities when Columbus has committed players forward, where they're cycling the ball around, and Obi does get a foot in and spring the attack the other way. There are too many good players on the FC Cincinnati attack that are good on the attack in motion. And I'm speaking specifically of Brenner and Evander. Those two specifically, when they get the opportunity to get out and run, they have to be willing to spring Brenner. Brenner's best moments on this team since coming back have been when he is moving towards goal, when he is fed the ball on a run towards goal, and he's allowed to have his take a touch and then immediately place the ball on net. I think he scored 3 of his goals so far this year with the FC on that specific type of play. They have to maximize those opportunities, and they have to be looking to break every time they get the chance to against this Columbus attack.
It's going to come down to who takes their opportunities. Like, this is truly going to be where ideally the better players step up and score goals when their teams need them. And I like that FC Cincinnati has better attackers and generally better players. And that, to me, leads me to believe that FC Cincinnati will make the most of their opportunities and score more goals.
They have to. Pat Noonan said it in the press conference. Grayson said it on the show last week. Be brave. There has to be a willingness to go forward and to take advantage of opportunities in the attack. This team, where the balance of where the real difference between these two teams is that FC Cincinnati has 3 lethal attackers that it's starting in this game. You have to leverage those players. You cannot be in a situation where you're being shut out with that much firepower. And if that means committing to playing some through balls and being a little brave, a little aggressive with the idea of getting Evander, Denke, and Brenner the ball in space and in good scoring opportunities, this team cannot be content. You asked about possession. They cannot be content to pass around the back and look for opportunities. They have to prioritize getting the ball to those 3 players as often as possible and in as advanced a position as possible from whistle to whistle, because that's where you're clearly better than Columbus. You are clearly better than Columbus right there. And if they're not getting opportunities, then this series is going to be very difficult for FC Cincinnati, I think.
Grayson, who's the most important player for FC Cincinnati tomorrow?
I mean, it's a cop-out to say Evander, but it's Evander, right?
It's the answer, right? Like,
yeah, it's Evander. But I think there's some other, there's maybe like 3 or 4 other reasonable candidates. Mm-hmm. I think you could say Obi, right?
Sure.
You could say, you know who I like? Nick Hagland. Ooh. Nick Hagland is the most important player tomorrow, because you know what you're going to get from Miles, right? You need to get an elevated level of play from Nick Hagland, and also, Teenage Hadabi, assuming he's the left-sided center back, right? You need those 2 guys to be clean.
And I would agree with you. I'd also throw out there Roman Celentano. We have seen Roman pull out some spectacular saves in this matchup. We have seen him preserve wins in this matchup, and potentially the probability of penalties goes up in this series, in this format, and he may very well be put to the test, if not tomorrow night, at some point along in this best of 3 series. Just as a reminder, folks, the format, because I needed a refresher as well, it is best of 3, as in get 2 wins and you are through. If a victor is not found in the 90 minutes of regulation, it goes immediately to penalties. And whoever wins that shootout is the winner. So winning 5-0 is the same as winning 5-4 in penalties. It is a win. There is no 2 points for a penalty shootout win, 3 points for a regulation win, et cetera, et cetera. So be prepared, and also, if it's a tie in the 90th minute, stick around, okay? Don't think that the game is over.
I'm going to disagree with Grayson. I mean, Evander is he's probably the right choice, but I do think that the most important player in this series is going to be Brenner. He's the difference maker in terms of like what has changed between these 2 teams since they met in the summer. And what is the difference between these 2 teams since the summer window is that Columbus signed Abu Ali. He's not available for this series. FC Cincinnati got Brenner. He is going to be available for this series. And he is the player where if this offense is working, it's because of the chemistry that we've seen already between Brenner and Evander. And his ability to find Brenner in dangerous areas, and like Brenner's got to be able to finish. I think that if Brenner is going the way he has the last couple matches, I think that that's a great sign for Cincinnati. If he's not, it probably means that they're being frustrated and they're not finding the strikers in a good area and in good positions. And I think that would be a sign of bigger problems happening with this team.
Yeah, I can go along with that one as well.
Who do you got, Kevin? Who's your player that you want to watch in this?
I think Brenner's a good call out. Obviously, Evander's probably the correct answer. I'll put it on this. Miles Robinson. This is a team that has been Matt Miazga's team for the last couple of years. And once again, Matt Miazga is unavailable in the playoffs. Miles Robinson is not yet, but will be soon, the most highly paid center back in Major League Soccer. He is now, it appears to be, a starting national team center back for the U.S. men's national team as it heads into a crucial home-hosted World Cup. I think this will be a great opportunity for Miles Robinson to demonstrate that he is worthy of the paycheck. Not that he has improved it already, but to earn that, to cement himself in the eyes of the ever fickle U.S. men's national team online fan base, that he can indeed start, if not lead, the back line of a 3-man back line for the U.S. men's national team. I think this would be the series you would want to see him, more than any other, step up and provide excellent defense. That's recoveries, clearing nonsense out of the box, making Roman Solentano's job easy. That's what I want to see. I trust the offense to eventually get it done. The question marks for me are on defense, and I think Miles Robinson has to be the answer to any questions you have on defense, organizing, play, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I think that's where I would ultimately go. I think Ender Echenike will be an X factor here, similar to Brenner. I think if Echenike has a good game, there's a very decent chance that this team has won, based on how they play on outside backs. But he could go up and down this roster. I mean, this is sort of the joy of having a talented and deep roster, is that any one of these guys can pop up on their day and be the one who wins the game. So with that,
what's your biggest worry, Kevin?
My biggest worry is a mental collapse. So it's best of 3. This team is better on the road. I will be able to deal with a hard-fought, difficult 1-goal loss, right? Like if it's, if all the opportunities were going our way, it's a bad beat, a fluke penalty, something like that. You can't control everything, but if it's a loss that's sort of against the run of play, I'll manage it. If it is we go up 1-0 and lose 4-1 sort of collapse, or a scuffle or brawl breaks out and multiple guys are suspended for multiple games, I want to see mental fortitude from this team, because that has failed them in the playoffs in the past. I don't want to see it. I'd rather lose with my chin up than have a collapse like that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like you want to avoid PKs, I think, as much as possible.
Yeah.
I don't have a ton of confidence in the ability to win a PK shootout. Call me snakebit, or call me gun shy, or, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, won't get fooled again.
We just haven't seen a lot of success in them with this sort of general core group of players.
No, and it's players that you otherwise think should be up for it. Yeah. You've got, Evander misses a PK in, I think, Leagues Cup. Was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Misses a PK in Leagues Cup. Roman, for as great as he has been in virtually every other facet of his game, you watch him against PKs and he gives it away so early with the way he's leading and the way he's moving. I think he is incredibly ill suited, I'll say, for a penalty kick shootout. So I need to avoid that, because that feels like, especially with how punitive it is for losing them, there is no even consolation for getting to PKs if you don't win them. You don't get that extra point, or it's not a 2-point win. I think that as best as possible, you need to treat going to PKs like a loss that you have already lost. So like, let's get the goal in regulation. I would rather win or lose in regulation than take it to a coin flip for PKs. Because I don't think it's a coin flip for FC Cincinnati. I think that you're at a disadvantage in that situation.
You're rolling a D20 at disadvantage. That's actually
very much so. And let me tell you, the number is going to be single digits, so don't worry about it here.
If the stars would align and we are headed towards certain penalties with a substitution remaining,
the answer is yes.
Okay.
They would never do it, but the answer is yes. Like, you would ruin a man's confidence for the rest of his career if you did that. But the answer is yes.
Some teams have done it.
Nashville did it against us in Leagues Cup, I want to say.
Yeah, they did. They put in a helmet.
Yeah.
Netherlands national team did it in the World Cup.
2014 World Cup. It was a hell of a move. Yeah.
The guy's name was Krul.
Oh, wait.
He wore a helmet, I think.
Tim Krul, and then it was
Jas Sillison?
Yeah, he played at Everton for a hot second. Yeah, like came in just to do the penalties, and it worked out, and it resulted in one of the greatest high fives of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Go look that up. So that takes us to the moment of truth. Predict the outcome of Monday's game. I don't care about the rest of the series or the rest of the games. I want to know the score. I want to know who scores them. And I think that's it. That'll pretty much cover any other questions I would have. Chief?
Why do I have to go first?
Because I always start with you. I don't know why. In my screens, you're top left, and I'm just reading a book here.
I think they're going to win 1-0. The goal is scored by Brenner.
Oh, that could be fun.
That will not be fun. No part of that will be fun. You will walk out of the game feeling like you need a cigarette and just a good quiet lay down for a little bit.
I mean, honestly, that's just Monday night.
Yeah, it is true.
If I was actually thinking about this, because that is like not my biggest fear, but I was thinking about, different ways the series could go, what type of approach are they going to take? And I do think that the most Pat Noonan thing he could do is win this series in 2 games, both 1-0, both scoring or early and holding a lead the rest of the game.
Oh my God.
And just shove it in our faces. Shove it in everybody's face. Like, you think we don't have underlying numbers? You think that we're too easy to play through? We give up too many opportunities. We don't move the ball well enough offensively. Well, this is it, guys.
You know what would just be electric is in that scenario that in the press conference, instead of taking questions, he just stands up and says, "You want XG? Here's XG," and does like the DX cross chop like right on camera and walks off.
My underlying numbers are 6-7.
Right.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Oh God!
You know who can't defend a lead?
The Cincinnati Bengals defense.
The Cincinnati Bengals.
I clicked away from it. What are we doing?
It has not gone well since you clicked away.
Oh boy! Oh no, that's the wrong number.
It's better than it was 30 seconds ago when Joe Flacco was going to the locker room, seemingly out for the rest of the game.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, it looks like he's back.
3-1 to the FC.
Oh, I would love it so much.
Oh,
We're getting goals from Brenner,
okay.
Yes.
Evander,
Okay, sure.
and Pavel.
Oh,
Because you know the Pavel goal is a banger.
You know
from
it is.
distance.
You know it's a banger.
Like Steph Curry parking lot shot.
Buka bangers only, man.
Grayson, that is very similar to my approach because I am not merely predicting. I am using one of my 3 wishes on this little lamp I found when hiking, and I am predicting / wishing for a 3-0 victory with goals coming from Nicholas Haglund, Alvis Powell, and Kai Kamara. I cannot.
So many things have gone wrong. If that is the 3 ways that we score goals in this game.
I cannot think of 3 better goal scorers for this first game.
I'm going to be real with you. Like, what would truly be healing is a victory of some sort by multiple goals, where one of the goals is a Luca Orishano half-court shot.
Oh, yes.
I don't know about running into the pile on 2nd and 10 with 35 seconds remaining. That's a bold call by Zach Taylor right there.
I think you're a little ahead of me.
You're not going to like what happens next on your feed. Let me put it that way. It's a little bit of a bold call that did not work out.
Oh, God. Well, with that.
Yeah, no. Are you going to the game, Kevin?
At time of recording, I do not have a ticket, but I remain open to the possibility.
Grayson, you going to the game?
You bet.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully I'll see you guys there. We can toast one afterwards after a big-ass victory because fuck Columbus.
The Cincy Postcast is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out online at thepostcincy.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram. Twitter and Blue Sky, though, you'll find we're a little more active than the other places. We're also on YouTube, where you can listen to this episode if you aren't listening to it already. We are also putting up video content semi-regularly, including the Away Days series. We want to give a huge thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers for providing the music for this episode. They're a lovely band, and you can find more information out about them in the description of this episode. And if you happen to enjoy what you just heard, can I please ask that you like us, that you rate us on whatever app you're listening to, and maybe more importantly than all of that, share this episode with a friend. When it comes up at work, you're talking about FC Cincinnati, I say, hey, I listened to an FC Cincinnati podcast. I think you guys will like it. It would really, really help us out. Nothing helps a podcast travel more than a good recommendation from a friend, family member. That would be awesome. When it comes to the sorting algorithms that control our lives, a 5-star review would be much appreciated. Also, leaving a sort of written review weirdly does more than that. That's how the algorithms work. So maybe say a nice or a mean thing, whatever. Just as long as you give us 5 stars, that'll really, really, really help us out. And if you are looking for more MLS content, check out our other podcast, The World's Gam. Again, a link will be in the description of this episode. That is where we touch on league-wide storylines and news, and we talk about other games and a couple other teams in there as well. I think you will enjoy it if you are just dipping your toes into Major League Soccer. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors. A even bigger thank you to all of our patrons over at Patreon. But maybe most importantly, thank you for listening to this episode.